Today, morning. You haven't gotten any sleep either, Francis, but for more positive reasons. You've been busy. My head is kind of swimming after simultaneously trying to analyze the fine print and references while finishing the actual paperwork. So many names you don't recognize. Yeah, people attached to one of these volunteer organizations. So many conservative politicians in the finance. Your head is swimming. A lot of these names Paul probably knows better. His family being more connected and so on. But there's a lot. And also the actual paperwork. Actually getting the references to go to the point to the right order number and making sure that the number of samples is correct in all of the different versions of the blood analysis and so on. You're starting to approach the finish of how far you can go with this paperwork without actually accessing, the blood supply itself and make sure that the bags are there that should be there and so on. But that's a lot.
Yes, it's certainly extremely dull, mostly pointless. After the initial, I suppose, vague interest of discovering some of the organizations that are probably involved in the transferal and movement of the blood, there is little more to be discovered. Again, these blood bags with their different names need to be studied, and I cannot do that by simply looking at them with my eyes. Therefore, I'm just tired, irritated, although at least there is peace and quiet here. Beautiful peace and quiet that does help a little. But generally I'm bored, and unsure really how to even proceed. Madame Bakur is going to need to know some of this information, but again, it's still mostly theoretical and beyond the scope of the supposed mission. After all, isn't the mission find the blank body in the prison? If there even is just one and not several, I also am beginning to suspect that clearly several security staff, and possibly even the governor himself, must surely be infected with Stage 0. Stage 0 is my new classification for the initial infection. The infection that Paul briefly had. The infection, I believe, can be cured in time quite easily. Yes, no longer Stage 1, that was premature. That's more Ellis. Stage 1, yes. Again, my mind is trying to focus on more interesting things as I almost do the paperwork like a robot.
And the paperwork continues to pile up on the side of the metal bed inside the cell. You're let out for lunch. You're given a tray by a big screw you haven't seen before. A silent South Londoner with sad eyes. He watches you the entire time as you eat the peas and mash and what passes for grilled sausage or something.
I eat it, scratching at my steadily growing, stubbly beard now. After all, no sharp objects for me, so I couldn't have a shave even if I wanted to.
You briefly wonder what it looks like. You see yourself in the reflective surface of some tray. You're not sure this is your look.
No, I imagine I look a little bit like some sort of random homeless person who you'd see on the street begging for spare change. Yes, that's the sort of look this beard gives.
The doctor comes in with 4 screws and a patient whose head is hanging down, drooling. It looks like one of the Pakistanis from A ward, from the floor beneath yours. He mumbles, his eyes open only intermittently. The doctor plods him down on the hospital bed beside you, sets him down and starts fastening the restraints. 2 screws hold him down, even though he right now doesn't seem to make much of resistance. Looks groggy, weak. The doctor looks up at you and the screw. I say, all right, this is all right. You can assist.
Oh, wonderful. What do you need me to assist with? What's wrong with this
We
one?
need to feed him. Yeah, I got word about a hunger strike. He's not been eating for approximately a month, about a week before the lockdown started. So we need to feed him. So if you will give me a spatulum over there, and there's a feeding tube there on shelf C. If you could give that to me.
I try and hold back the sigh of irritation. Doing, what's this, junior doctor, nurse work? Me holding the bag or the tool that feeds someone who needs feeding, and utterly degrading, but instead I just attempt to smile. It probably doesn't look very nice, and just go and get the goods.
You get the goods and a lukewarm bag of whatever contents you had in your meal, probably run through a blender. Hold it up. You know the drill. He's a bit rough on the insertion part. The inmate coughs. Slime. Slight tinge of blood in the slime. Did they rough him up on the way down?
Possibly. I don't know.
You press the bag, you open the valves, you make sure everything is good. He coughs a little, his eyes open as he looks at you angrily, hatefully, as you bypass his swallow reflexes and insert nutrition directly into his stomach.
Yes, I'm not too disturbed by this. After all, if the man is on a hunger strike, then of course he is angry that I am keeping him alive. Oh, the price one pays to be a doctor.
The process and the cleanup and the sedation of the patient takes an hour or something. At the end of it, you're alone with just a big silent screw and the doctor was washing his face in a small basin. It's filthy work. It's filthy work, I tell you.
True, but such is the way of things. How is the old phantom anemia issue, by the way? All sorted? Everyone better now?
No new reports? No?
Well, as I said before, I had some theories, but unfortunately, well, they'd require looking at a few blood samples underneath a microscope, and, well, that's not going to be happening anytime soon, is it?
Let's sit down. Let's let me catch a breath for a second here. He pulls out a drawer and takes out a small bottle of cheap brandy. Pours 2 test tubes. Hands a test tube to the screw.
I hesitate for a moment, my gaze going to the screw and seeing how he reacts to this.
He goes bottoms up. So, you really think there's something infectious going on? Let's review. Okay, so let's review. We have Jordi Tugwell. We have Slaudas. We have Abi, who also showed signs of anemia apart from his injuries. I have...
Certainly all rather strange, isn't it? What I've been...
These are at least 2 cases of aplastic anemia during the scope of 12 days. And 1 more suspected within the same 12-day range. Is that impossible?
Not entirely, no. But very unusual. Very rare. However, the other day I did notice that we have an awfully well-rounded blood sample system here. It almost looked like you must have all the patient's blood on hand, which is amazing and very good. That might be helpful. If it is something to do with a blood disease, normally, I'm sure you know, the problem with blood diseases is that you need to get an awful lot of samples before you can be sure. But you already have them. If I was able to, under your supervision, of course, just analyze just a few samples of blood that you already have in stock, I could compare them to what we have on these patients, and I could see if there is something common. It might even be possible, if I'm right, we could find people who are more susceptible to whatever's going on, and maybe then we could treat them before whatever's happening happens. Maybe.
So what are we talking about? Some sort of malaria? Some sort of... What else could it be?
It could be environmental, it could be something innocent that we've missed in the ventilation, for example. Perhaps there's been something in the water source lately. There are several possible ways it's getting into the prison. Again, the blood would reveal all. It is my speciality, believe it or not.
Is it impossible that it's just conditional, that it's something, some deficiencies in the patients, with the stress and so on could have triggered as well? I mean, most blood diseases are hereditary blood diseases, but and the ones that... If you rule out the hereditary ones, what are we left with?
Again, the best way to investigate would simply be some simple tests. You know how it is. It's not like I'm asking to reach into the blood bank and pour blood everywhere. Just a few samples. Worst case scenario, I waste 4 or 5 hours of your time and achieve nothing. And to be honest, when I say waste your time, I mean you just sit back and have a brandy while I work.
There is... Listen to me. Of course, I can't let you do sophisticated blood analysis work. What needs to be done, though, is to complete the paperwork. And you need to check the physical bags towards the delivery numbers and make sure they're all there. That's the last bit. I was going to do that today, but my fiancée has a thing and I should really go.
Oh yes, I mean, certainly. I can do the finishing touches to the paperwork. I try and give him a smile. But again, internally, I'm imagining a group of 10 armed men coming in, pointing a gun at his head. While I scream, "Give me the goddamn blood samples, you cretin!" But instead, I simply smile. Certainly, yes, I'll finish the paperwork. It's nearly done, and I wouldn't want to keep you. I'm sure the guard here can make sure I go back in my cell on time.
He looks at you. Where were you trained again?
Yes, I'm polite. Oxford, of course.
You talk a bit about your medical past. He's a bit chattier than he usually is. The question is whether your resume and whatever passes for contact between you is enough. This is clearly not something he is supposed to do. A charisma plus medicine.
4 your successes.
Here, I'm logging in to the computer there. Takes the office laptop. There. So this one is where you can do the comparative analysis, and over here, of course, you have the microscope, and you have a rotor shaker, and it shows you around the bare bones but passable equipment. You make sure everything is in order by tomorrow morning.
Certainly.
And let's have another drink afterwards, yeah? He looks up at the silent guard. Poe just smiles and shrugs. Takes out a in-ear phone from one of his ears and goes, "What do you say? I'm listening to a Doctor Who radio play." Well, perfect. So you have your work cut out for you, and I have a date.
Certainly. Have a wonderful evening. And I suppose with that, while I don't have the access I really want, the actual blood samples, I suppose I have access to the computer records, at least for the moment.
Yes.
Well, I might be able to do a little something, I suppose. While I am actually doing what I'm supposed to do, I'm going to try, subtly as I can, just to see what I can find when I type in some of those labels. Fissile, dark. See if I can find anything about them, anything I can quickly use to determine why they are different from standard blood samples. If that information is even here.
Yeah, you are almost entirely uninterrupted. There's a few bodily wet noises from the patient in one of the cells nearby. The guy you force-fed is recovering in one of those cells. That Abby should be in the other one. And then there's your empty one and one more. But almost undisturbed. You lay into it. What kind of pen do you use for the paperwork itself?
Red, of course.
Of course. The red scribbles start covering sheet after sheet, columns of letters and signifiers for different compositions, and measures of palates and red blood cells and trace amino acids and so on. The blood work done here is impressively thorough. Unnecessarily so.
Do I feel the individual who left me here would actually even be capable of this level of analysis?
No, this is not done by him.
Who then? Is there any names on the paperwork?
No. There are users and sign-ins, but that requires, doing things that doesn't look quite kosher to the guard, who his relaxed stance notwithstanding keeps quite a close eye on you.
Of course, I need to be cautious. Now I'll have to make do with just looking at the information on the blood itself. After all, it is there. I just need to use my own intellect to try and see if I can see what is so special about those blood bags compared to normal blood. There must be something. There'll be some information. If it's that thorough, there'll be something.
And this is your element. Intelligence plus medicine, please.
Very well. Ooh. That is a critical success, giving me 5 successes.
When you thought that the blood work was overly thorough, your assessment wasn't quite correct. It's a bit weird. It's focused on trace amino acids and trace hormones. There is more attention paid to looking for what would be contaminants or extremely hard to discover and absolutely irrelevant hormones in the blood samples, which is a focus on a lot of it. There's 2 columns that are dedicated to only comparing different DNA-carrying cell clusters compared to others. The intersection is given. This is... It seems like the bags that are labeled PSIL contain heightened levels, quite extremely heightened levels, of pituitary hormones. These are sleep cycle regulating hormones and things that doesn't really belong in blood analysis. But there it is. It's a clear link.
So it's almost as if those ones are individuals who have issues with their sleep or irregular sleeping patterns? That's the connection?
It's also something, if you remember right, hormones isn't really your forte, but if you remember it, it's something that is often found in, to debilitating degrees, in cattle that is held in pens for a long time. It's also found in depressive or immobile patients. And heightened levels of hormones of that group can lead to clinical depressions even, or maybe be present in extreme forms of that.
In comparison, what of the dark labelled bags?
There, it's thyroid hormones from the thyroid gland. It's a wider spectrum there. It's hard to tell, but it seems to be in that group. It's not, adrenaline is very low, for instance. Testosterone is also low. But the thyroid seems to have overproduction. Even discovering these things means that you have to be searching for it very, very diligently. These procedures are complicated procedures. They're on your own level. You could do this.
Precisely. The question is, why? I don't understand. Why would you care that some people have these conditions? Is it possible that in the process of ingestion, if there are certain issues with the person you drink from, I suppose, I'll use here, that maybe those conditions could spread to the user? Maybe they are concerned about disease. After all, I have yet to discover how that works. Do blank bodies contract diseases? Do they affect a blank body the same way they would affect a normal person, uninfected? Maybe that's it. Maybe it matters if blood has things in it that could disagree with the higher level individual. I wonder if that counts for stage 0s and stage 1s like Ellis. So many questions. Ugh. But yes, I suppose that's all I'm going to get for now. At least I found something, but yes, why? Why does it matter?
There is more. There's 2 broad categories. It's hard to describe it, but you get a lot of dead cells in one of the categories. Like, a lot. Some of them seem... It's dust in there, in the blood. That's the closest thing you can describe it to. Minerals, extremely high mineral counts, silicates.
What does that normally mean, to have that in the blood?
It seems insane, but it is almost as if the blood cells themselves have been dead for a long, long, long time. Like they are fossils of blood cells.
Wait a moment. when I start looking at this, does this seem similar to the samples I was able to analyze so long ago now?
Yes, but so much worse.
Worse than Ellis's blood?
Much, much, much worse.
Then...
It is almost completely dead. Centuries dead.
That kind of pings in my brain, but I kind of dismiss it immediately because centuries nonsense. But yes, that's how it looks, isn't it?
You wouldn't have spotted this unless it was written out a bit too clearly to reach the conclusions of the hormonal counts. We had to exclude these factors, and it makes it glaringly obvious.
But wait, this almost proves my theory of the stages, because could this be stage 2 blood? But then wait, if this was stage 2 blood, that would mean they were collecting blood from themselves? Is that even a thing? Can blank bodies consume their own blood? That seems paradoxical somehow. Maybe I'm going down the wrong tree there. Why would they do that?
2 different kinds. One is perfectly normal blood with these heightened hormone levels. And the other, this thing. There's a rattling at the door as a key is turned. A red light and then a green one comes on as Bokor a bit inexpertly operates the magnetic lock. She has Paul with her.
I blink a little in surprise, and just before I'm too distracted, I just try and look back at the screen and try and get a patient name on one of those final blood types, the really ancient, decayed blood types. Get a name, a ward, a cell.
Isolation Ward 46.
I look at Bokor questioningly, and then at Francis I meet his glance before he turns back to it, and then I move up to him to see what he's doing.
It's not the scrolling numbers on the screen that tells you that there is something of weight, depth there. It's Francis's face as he turns around. Yesterday night. You're running, Gabrielle. The gravel is spraying around your shoes. Her shout, her scream, came from that way. That's where they usually are. The dog is barking behind you, weakly, limping after. But you're much faster. You see the blue lights long before you get to the scene. Fuck, it's the cops.
What are they doing? The cops? Can I see her?
Yes, she's up against the hood of the police car.
Fuck.
With her hands on it. Beside her, a handsome, dark-haired boy with big eyes looking around and spitting in the direction of one of the cops and gets a shove into the car.
Fucking hell.
Further away, on the road, you see there's another police car stopped and there's 2 women talking on the sideway. They don't see you, they are way too far away. But that's her. That's Miss Barrows.
Remind me, did she say who she was working for? It was No.
She works for a professional PI agency. It is called KPI or something like this.
But it wasn't clear who hired her?
The mother.
The mother. Okay. Because right there and then, I'm like, I thought Sarah was in mortal danger and then I would have fought anything to get her. But if she's taken by the police because she's stupid enough to go out and buy weed, she's not in danger she will be shipped back to her mother, and there's fuck all I can do with it. So, it's not an easy decision, but...
She would not come back.
I know.
She would never talk to Paul. She would never continue that strange legal obsession. She would be sucked into that weird Christian family and never come back and not be there for Paul. That much you're certain of. You see the smile on the PI whose ass you just kicked's face as she stands talking to the cop. Yeah, Sarah is shouting and get off me! Get your hands off me! No! No, I don't want it. No, there's nothing here. We don't have anything. The police officer, one of them, starts walking around and says, if we don't find anything around here, then we'll go. Otherwise, we're taking you in, of course. The lady there said you tried to sell weed to her. You need to check the premises. So just be still.
Oh my god.
They're starting to walk around. First they're patting them down. Oh, good. Looks like they don't have anything. She doesn't have anything on her, at least. Good. You see all this from some bushes about 20, 30 feet away. It's dark and the street lights are on their side. They haven't seen you yet, even though you're just standing there. The dog growls behind you.
Fuck. Okay, I will help you, but you have to wait, okay? I look back to see what happens, if they're gonna release her or what.
Can you give me an investigation plus wits? Or streetwise?
Investigation it is.
Mm-hmm.
4.
You know where it is. You realize that the drug stash must be in that trash bag. That one right there.
Yeah, they are not that bright.
No, it's also the place you would put it. It's the one that is furthest away.
Yeah.
It's within reach, and you see him looking at it. They don't. They're starting on with a perimeter search around them, around their feet. Have they dropped them there? There's only 2 of them, and they're busy. The park is dark, and it's about 30 meters away to the can.
Can I get invisible and use my obfuscate, maybe?
You can. At this point, you can push the blood and step into the shadows at will.
I will do that. And I had a success on my rouse. And then it's dexterity and obfuscate, or what is it that I roll?
They're aware. They're looking around. They might any minute move there. What is it you're trying to do there in the shadows?
I'm thinking of just going to the stash and remove it.
They're not unaware. They are going to the area around the car. They're moving quite rapidly. Just not bumping into them should not be much of a problem. But if they look straight at you, there's a cold pit in your stomach. You don't know if you could stay in the shadows if they were too close. And they are policemen. Let's do a resisted roll between their roll here and your. Yeah, let's take your dexterity plus stealth, and then 3 extra dice for the obfuscate in this case.
2.
There is that one moment. He's right there, right in front of you, staring right at you. What do?
Oh, fuck.
His jaw is dropping. You're right there at the bin with the black trash bag in one hand and some cans and some other shit in the other hand. And he's looking straight at you. 6 feet away, policeman in that reflective vest, Bobby, not armed.
I want to snatch the bag and then I want to run into the forest and just shuck it and disappear. That's what I want to do.
You're gone in the blink of an eye. He's in shock. Yeah, you hear him shouting, "Hey, hey!" But then he starts going through the bin and looks around. Yeah, then he just walks back. You're in the forest. You've chucked the bag, and you're on your way away. The dog barking. You got away. You got it. You cleared it. But what happens to Sarah?
I need to go back, so I will sneak back again to see that they release her, and then I can take care of the dog. So the dog will have to wait for a little while longer.
The dog is weak. Goes and hobbles, licks at your hand. Yeah, you're away. Running, stopping. In the darkness you hear their confused voices. One of them is even laughing now. But the flashlights are still there, moving around. You got away, you dumped it, but you can't really get a good look at what's happening to Sarah. The dog is whining, licking your hand. You see the flashlight starts moving towards you.
Fuck! Shut up! Shut up!
The dog looks at you, bares its teeth, and licks at you. It goes forward, shows teeth, and then it goes back, waving his tail. Moving away. 2 of the flashlights are approaching.
Oh, fuck. Can I see Sarah anywhere?
You see her through the leaves. Yeah, you think she's walking away.
Oh, good.
But fuck. That Miss Barrows is following them out of there.
I can't. I don't... No. You have to wait. She's... Fuck! I'm following after Sarah. I just need to see that she isn't being snatched by this evil woman.
It's not hard to follow them for the first block. But then you can see them waving down a cab. The dog is weaker and weaker. It's lying at the pavement behind you now.
I tried to call her. Obviously not invisible anymore, of course.
You get a text message back. Almost got taken by cops. In cab with friend of mom.
I text back, she's a PI. Get out of there.
PI? What the fuck? How?
Just get out. I call her again.
The signals just keep on going. You see the car. It starts driving away. It stops at the red light.
Okay. Can I run towards it?
You could. It's far, but you could make it.
I will.
Yeah. And then you see a message from Sarah. I see you. And then you run fast as your legs can carry you, and you see there the car, the black shadow of the car silhouetted against the red light, and suddenly the door pops open and you see Sarah's leg whipping out, and then her crawling out, and on her other leg someone is holding it. So it kicks and kicks again with their sharp heels. Manages to turn around and slam the car door, rolling away. You're about 30 meters away. The other door is opening.
So she's out of the car?
She's out of the car, she's rolled to the pavement and rising up. Kicked the PI into the car.
Yeah, I'm running to help her, of course. Sarah, are you okay?
You're coming forward and you see the other door popping. The PI is crawling out of that side.
Fuck no. Does she want to get beaten twice today? I'm concentrating on Sarah. I'm going over to her. I'm helping her up, but I'm also keeping an eye on that fucker, because if she says or does anything, shit will go down. But right now I'm just gonna take Sarah home, or see to that she get home. So I go to Sarah and help her up. Come on. Let's get her. Let's get you up.
Barrows starts walking towards you. And she's reaching for something under her jacket, realizes you have her gun, and just stands there kicking in the ground as the police cars from the other scene, of course, come this way.
Sarah, we need to go. Get up and we run, okay?
Fuck you! What's so important about not seeing your mom? Yeah, fuck you, cunts! She gets into the car and slams the door, starts it, and starts driving away.
I just drag her into the nearest alley where it's darker, where we aren't in the line of sight from the police cars.
You're back against the brick wall. It's wet, dark. She's standing up. Legs are shaking. He's taking out a crumpled cigarette and smokes it.
Sarah, you need to go home, lock the door, and don't answer your phone. I have some shit to do, and fuck. Please, just go home.
Which home?
Our home.
Which home, Gabrielle? Which home?
Come here. I take her in my arms and I embrace her tightly, and trying to push down my stress about the other shit that is going down, and be like, Sarah, it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. That woman was not an honest person. She was a PI, and I'm not really sure who she was. You did good. You're a grown-up. You can decide for yourself. Your mother has no right to try to do this. But right now, I need you to go home to our home and lock the door and don't answer the phone if it's not me. And we can talk about this tomorrow, okay?
Gabrielle, it's gonna get worse, Gabrielle.
I know.
You don't know my mom's family.
Yeah. But you're a grown-up.
You don't know her father.
You're a grown-up. You can decide for yourself. They cannot force you to do anything. That would be kidnapping. Okay?
Yeah.
You can do this. I know this.
I kicked the bitch. And I love you. Hugs.
Sarah.
See you later.
Yeah. Go straight home. Lock the door. Text me when you're home.
Her silhouette is walking down the wet asphalt path out of the alley. She's shaking. Okay. I go back to the dog. It's there in the alley, but it hasn't made a sound in a while.
I pick it up. How big is it? Can I pick it up?
Yeah, it's black, medium-sized mutt. It's barely breathing.
I pick it up and sit down with it and just looks around to see that there's no other people looking, and then I quickly bite my wrist on some kind of impulse and let my blood drip down in its mouth to see if I can make it feel a bit better so I can do whatever it was that it needed me to do. And it doesn't even feel weird, it just feels like it should be.
The light, the smell, the place. The dog takes quite a bit. It feels natural and it comes alive, but only after forcing you to rouse the blood to give it its fill. It must have been near death, but now it's full of you. And it doesn't take more than 3-4 blocks when you still have to carry it until it starts waving its tail a bit.
Good boy.
Making a yip and a yap, and the heart that you almost swore for one moment there when you fed it was still goes pick back again. And 4 little feet meet the asphalt, and it starts moving with purpose in the direction of Armley Jail.
I follow it. A bit... not weirded out, but the weirdest thing is how natural it was to just do that and know that it might save it. But I follow it with some kind of care for it now. Like, I saved it and now I have to... A bit like with Sarah, I have to care for it now. And... too much philosophy. I just need to do the thing.
Your phone rings.
I take it out to see who it is.
Hannah.
I answer. Hello?
Hello, love. Early night for you? It's not going to be an early night for us. Do you want to take Harry's shift tomorrow night?
Sure. Of course. You drunk?
Oh, it's going to be great. Yeah, lockdown's not going great. I think there's a need for extra personnel also. Harry's going to be a bit out of sorts, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, you just have to, like, in the afternoon before you go, just swing by our place and pick up a thing.
I will do that. Thank you.
Okay.
Have a good one, Hannah.
Yay!
Yeah. Okay, bye. Fuck. Okay. I look at the dog again. Where were we? Come on, show me what you got. Show me what we need to do.
It's 4 blocks away from Armley Jail, but not in the right direction. You've been walking to the far back side of the whole complex, through streets with the dry cleaners and old storage facilities. The dog stops and scrapes at the wall. He has the outer brick wall of Armley Jail's majestic compound from the far side. Scratches.
It's weird. I get closer to see if it's like where it scratches, if there's something weird with the wall there or what's going on.
No, not at all. It more looks like it's indicating behind. It's hard to get a good sense of the inner floor plan from out here, but this could be roughly where the abandoned wing is.
Of course.
It growls and scratches.
Yeah.
So, now maybe you know roughly what you're looking for and where.
I mean, I'm standing outside a prison communicating with a dog. Is there any way to get inside now? Can I try the thing that I tried before, or like how?
You have a shift tomorrow. You remember all the trouble you've been going through, the times you tried to push in on a whim.
Yeah.
And it's already late. Must be closer to 1, 2 at least. What was the time when you left the pub?
Not sure. I look at the dog. Is he dying? Or is it just that you want to help him?
It's hard to tell. The dog's wants in. It wants to help. It's happier now. It's better. But it's there.
Jesus Christ. Okay, tell you what. And I can't believe I'm standing here talking to a fucking dog like it would understand me. But tell you what. I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna look for your daddy. But before that, you're gonna come home with me and I'm gonna give you a good bath and some food and a belly rub. How about that? I look at it.
The dog looks back at you. It's sitting perfectly still. And then it goes up to you and licks your hand.
That's good. Okay, come on. Let's go home. I take a last look at the walls of the prison and then I start walking back to the apartment. Hopefully it will follow and understand that I will try to help. Rudy. Fucking Rudy. Everything he touches. Everything he fucking touches turns to shit. I fucking hate that guy. He should rot inside there. Making me distracted. It's not what I should be doing, but yet here I am.
2 shadows walking down the night streets. Coming home. Cleaning up for work. Having a dog. Watching sunrise. Getting a few hours of sleep. And then deal with all the darkness. Then deal with fucking Rudy and all the shit he throws around.
Fucking Rudy.
You have listened to an episode of Red Moon Roleplaying, where we played the 3rd season of the chronicle No Man is an Island for Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition. Our storyteller was Martin Eriksson, and we were also joined by Anna-Karin Linder and Freja Gyldenstrøm. The music was created by Lola Zaza, and the sound effects are from the fine folks at freesound.org, zapsplat.com, and Syrinscape. We would like to give massive thanks to our champions of the Red Moon, Martin Heuschober, Nastasia Raulerson, Simon Cooper, David, Julia, Camilla, Ludwig Manford, Bob Lange, Julián, Cameron, Ryan F, and Xabier for their generous support. And we would of course also like to thank all of our other patrons. Without your support, the show would not be possible. If you want to support our work, please check it out on Patreon. You can get access to bonus campaigns for Cult of Divinity Lost and Coriolis there, as well as get early and raw access to all of our recordings. You can also hear your name read on the show as a champion of the Red Moon, as well as play Cult with us. Most importantly, that support is what keeps the show going, so do check us out there. And remember, death is not the end.